In other news, 2 decades ago saw the start of Europe's bloodiest military conflict since the Second World War. The Bosnian War and the breakup of the former Yugoslavia reignited ethnic conflicts between Muslims and Serbs. Over 4 years, around 100,000 people were killed and more than 4 million displaced. The war was also NATO's first ever peace mission in the alliance's history, setting a template for incursions into foreign trouble spots. Anti-NATO activist Rick Rozoff joins us now live from Chicago. He's on the line with us. Thank you for being with us. The area, of course, just falling apart. Thousands dying, millions displaced. Surely someone had to step in.
If you're asking me if I believe that somebody had to step in, I think we're jumping ahead a little bit too quickly. The fragmentation of the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia beginning in 1991, not coincidentally, I'm convinced the very same year that the Soviet Union was fragmented into its 15 constituent federal republics, was in large part engineered by major Western powers, recently reunified Germany in the first instance. I'm thinking of Chancellor Helmut Kohl and Foreign Minister Hans-Dietrich Genscher. But nevertheless, having developed into a civil conflict, NATO, which celebrated its 63rd anniversary of its founding yesterday, decided it had a chance in a post-Cold War period, and with the collapse of the Soviet Union, to intervene militarily. It was not so much NATO's first peacekeeping mission. Bosnia represented NATO's first combat mission. In 1994, outside of the capital of the Bosnian Serb Republic, Banja Luka, U.S. Jet fighters shot down 4 Serbian airplanes. The following year, a U.S. plane was shot down and a pilot was captured. And in 1995, that same year, NATO brought in 60,000 troops into Bosnia. There's 60,000 troops under NATO command. So, you know, you're correct in what you said in the lead into the story, that this essentially is the template that has been used subsequently, both for the war against the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia in 1999, I would argue subsequently in Libya last year, and the model is being worked to various degrees in Syria currently. So I see hardly anything to celebrate. I'm convinced that if the major Western powers had not meddled in internal Yugoslav affairs starting in 1991, you would not have seen a civil war in Bosnia. And second of all, once that occurred, the U.S. and its NATO allies entered entirely on the side of one of the belligerents against the other, and waged bombing campaigns and other military acts of aggression against the Bosnian Serb Republic to bring about their desired result.
But certainly, I mean, like I said, thousands were killed. You obviously think that that NATO used it as a pretext for their strategic interests there. But if we focus on the people that were being killed, and again, the millions displaced, what else could have been done?
You know, again, as the question is fending off a problem before it develops, rather than pouring oil onto the flames, and then once it reaches a crisis point, demand that somebody intervene. But even if we want to flash back to 1995, where the situation had got out of control, there are other ways of resolving an internal civil conflict than bringing a U.S.-dominated military bloc in to, again, unilaterally and one-sidedly wage war against one of the belligerents on behalf of the other. This is not bringing peace. This is solving a civil war at the expense of another country. Let me give you a good example. If in the 1860s, Louis Bonaparte, who controlled Mexico essentially, and the British, who were still in Canada, had invaded the United States from both directions on the behalf of the Confederacy to end the war, it would not have been seen as a peacekeeping intervention in Washington, I can assure you.
In today's conflicts, NATO is accused, I should say, of intervening under the guise of humanitarian aid. How far can the banner of saving and preventing civilian deaths be justified?
Well, I mean, every decent human being wants to see an end to civilian deaths and to, internal strife, and particularly armed conflicts within countries. The key thing, again, I think, is that when the model has been established in countries like Bosnia, from 1991 to 1995, and later in Kosovo in 1998 and 1999, that if an armed insurgency or a separatist or a secessionist movement knows they can count on the political and ultimately the military support of the United States and NATO, they are emboldened both to begin and to continue an armed insurgency. I think we're seeing something quite like that in Syria, and the prospect of it developing in any number of other countries in the future now is given life because of this precedent that the West will intervene on behalf of one side in the civil conflict with the full force of its unprecedented military might. That is the major problem.
All right. Rick Rozoff live with us on the line from Chicago, anti-NATO activist speaking to us on the anniversary of the Bosnian War. Thanks for that.